Welcome back to Spring into Math 7. I'm Mrs. Campbell, and today we're going to be talking about graphing rates using the constant of proportionality. Let's get started. Okay, so we know that the graph of a proportional relationship must go through the origin, or 0, 0, and we know that it must increase. But did you know, and I'll highlight this, that by graphing a proportional relationship, we can find many different proportions that are also equivalent? Let's look at the problem we solved in our last session with the cupcakes and icing. Okay, so this graph, and I'll just read what I've got in blue to make sure we hit on every single point that's important. The graph shows each of the rates as a point on the graph. So remember, for one cupcake was 3 tablespoons of icing, 2 to 6, 3 to 9, okay? And we can put those as points on our graph. To write our table as a series of rates, we have to reverse the rates listed in the chart because one has to be the denominator of the unit rate. So you can see here, excuse me, okay. Also, the rate 3 over 1 or 3 to 1 can be written as the point 1 to 3 or 1 and 3. So you can see there's 1 and 3, you go over 1 up 3, but I have it written as 3 over 1. Same with 6 over 2 and 9 over 3. And basically the blue writing just indicates the rest of that. So this is basically just showing you that there are infinitely many equivalent rates in a proportional relationship. Let's use this example. A baker uses 14 cups of flour to make 4 loaves of bread. Let's highlight 14 cups, 4 loaves. Okay, 2 orders have now come in for 8 loaves and 10 loaves. The baker wants a way to show the proportional relationship between his flour and loaves so that he always knows how much flour is needed for up to 12. So the question is asking us to, number 1, show graphically the proportional relationship between the amount of flour and the number of loaves. Then circle on the graphs the unit rates and the proportions for 10 loaves. Then the second part of this problem is to write an equation to represent the amount of flour needed to make B loaves of bread. That'll be the variable we use. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is set up a graph. We will put on our horizontal axis loaves of bread, on our vertical axis cups of flour. We're going to label the axes, which I just did. Then you will plot the point 4 and 14. So you go over 4 and up 14 right here. Okay. Then we will draw a ray from 0, 0, our origin, to 4, 14, up. We can do this because there's a proportional relationship and they always start at 0, 0. Locate on the ray where loaves of bread is 1. That's down here in red. That's our unit rate. And we want to locate on the ray where the loaves of bread is 10, which is up here. 36 cups of flour are needed for 10 loaves of bread, and that will be circled. So to be sure, find the unit rate. That's always a good idea, using the rate of 14 to 4. We need the unit rate because the numerator in the unit rate, remember, that's going to be our constant of proportionality. With the constant of proportionality, we're going to call that the variable C. So 14 to 4 equals C over what? Again, we're looking for the constant of proportionality in the unit rate. So 14 times, we're going to cross multiply. 14 times 1 equals 4C. So 14 equals 4C. Then we're going to divide both sides by 4, and we come up with C equals 3.5. And so we know now that the baker, needs 3.5 cups of flour for each loaf of bread. But we're not done yet. Next, we need to make an equation. So we know that we have 3.5 times the number of loaves of bread will equal the cups of flour needed. Because remember, 3.5 is how much flour it takes for 1 loaf. So that times the number of loaves equals the total number of cups of flour needed. We will let the number of loaves of bread be B and let the cups of flour needed be F. Now we're going to write this as an algebraic equation. Now it looks like this. 3.5 times B equals F. Okay, and now all we have to do is solve. We can plug in the information that we have. 3.5, let's do the 8 loaves first. So again, we're trying to identify how much flour we need for 8 loaves of bread. 3.5 times 8 equals F, or flour, and that is 3.5 times 8 is 28. So we know for 8 loaves of bread, we need 28 cups of flour. Let's do 10. 3.5 times 10 equals 35. So for 10 loaves of bread, he needs 35 cups of flour. And that just about does it. That wraps it up for today. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.